Okay. We're back, folks. Here, it's Rick Wagner getting it right here on KNZZ, KGLN, and a bunch of other places. We are 1100, 980, and a whole bunch of other translators, stations, signal towers, smoke signals, and, of course, the Internet, space, radiating into space forever. Think about that. Alien someplace. I imagine aliens that look somewhat like strong, powerful bears, maybe with antenna. Anyway, so we're back, and I wanted to talk a little bit this week before I sideways on other things about our money. Now, I know the first thing you're thinking is, what do you mean, our money? Well, how about your money and my money and everybody else's money? I am not in the government, so I don't believe your money is my money. They see that it says U.S. Treasury on it, and they figure, well, that means it's ours. What are you doing with it? Give it back. You're just renting it. Things have gotten pretty crazy in the stock market. And, of course, a lot of people don't realize that the stock market is the haven not just for the fat cats like the Bezos and people like that, but a lot of folks who have 401ks are invested in there, retirement plans. Some people don't even know that their retirement plans are heavily invested in the market. You get those prospectus sometimes, and there's a lot of stuff in there to read, and it's not written in a way that's exactly exciting, and they don't want it to be. That's the other thing. It's like your health insurance plans. Here at my practice, because we do people with auto accidents and things like that, which, by the way, thank you very much, folks. I appreciate your support over the years, and you've made it successful. You've allowed me to hire people that are very good, that really know what they're doing, which is the cycle, right? When I'm able to hire people that know what they're doing and are really helpful and do a good job, then it makes people like what we do, and then they recommend it, and it goes around and around. Of course, that's the best way to get business. And it's directly attributable to you folks all over Western Colorado, and even a couple other states that have sent us cases. So I appreciate that very much. The advertising I do, I don't like to talk about it on this show. I almost never do, but I do appreciate it. And we do work hard to not force you to get your lawyer off the back of a bus or a bench or billboard someplace with someone, shaking their fist at you. We hope that isn't what you feel about us. Anyway, thanks again. But that's just a side note. The real note is that it's a little hard to figure out what's going on. And the stock market, if you just listen to it, is very confusing because it's confused. It's not you. The stock market has changed probably this last 20 years because there are more and more people who are able to access it directly through some of these accounts like E-Trade and so forth. And there are many more out there, which is one I think about because I guess I'm a victim of their advertising over years. But you can participate in it directly, and so there's a lot of people that do that. And you remember the day trading frenzy that people did in like the 2010 to 12 right in there, and then people that, ended up losing everything because they found out that the market is far too volatile to have all of your money in at any given time and try and take money out of it every day so you can live. Some people did well, but a lot of people did not. And some people are still doing it, and if you're very knowledgeable and you're good at it, then fine, but just be careful. The stock market out there is volatile because there are still so many people who are in and out of it so quickly. A rumor starts, they get in something. Another rumor starts, they jump out of it. And so volatility goes up. One of the things that's supposed to calm volatility a little bit is the capital gains tax, which is always confusing when Democrats talk about it. They make it sound like, that guy with the monocle and the top hat that lives in the Monopoly board. Yeah, he's the guy that gets capital gains. No, pretty much anybody does. And capital gains isn't just in the stock market. It's in certain types of investments that you do, maybe small investments, that if you hold on to them for a period of time, usually a year, then they're taxed at a different rate, supposedly a lower rate. That's to encourage you to hold on to things and not jump in and out of things and create a lot of volatility, particularly in the stock market, so that you might be in a stock that's going up and down, and you think, well, maybe it's just yank out of it and jump to something else. Well, you think to yourself, well, if I jump out of it, then the gains that I have made, if I haven't had that in there, that money in there for over a year, then it's going to be taxed at the regular rate, just like everything else that I earn. But if I hold on to it a little bit longer and get taxed at a capital gain rate, I get it taxed lower. So it encourages you to keep the money in there. Democrats, because they have the level of understanding about an economy of a colony of jellyfish, either don't understand or don't care about that. You would think Nancy Pelosi would, since she's pretty much gotten rich by trading on things that, I don't know, just a marvelous coincidence that have something to do with government action. I don't know how that is, Boy, that's just what a coincidence. They don't seem to. And they keep wanting to take that out. It's not because they're trying to get the fat cat's money or anything. It's just another way to leverage some more money into the government so they can spend it on things you don't like. And they think by talking about it like it's just rich people, they'll somehow use class envy to leverage that, and then it'll feel like it won't matter to you. You won't get hurt. Well, of course, everybody gets hurt sooner or later when you start yanking money out of people's hands. Even if it's not you directly, if it's from people who supply things to you, then that eventually comes back to get you too. So you want the economy to have some stability in it. And that's another one of the things that capital gains does. It also encourages investment, right? Because you want people to invest in new businesses, things like that, so there's enough working capital out there to be able to be successful. One of the sad things that you see so many times, particularly in certain sectors, is undercapitalization. And that doesn't mean you've got a bad idea or that you're not going to have a successful business within 2 or 3 years. It's that you started it out without enough capital to be able to weather those periods of time, like most businesses that start up, where you're not making any money. It takes a while. And people always underestimate the amount of time it might be involved in getting a customer base. And they can be going in the right direction and everything looking great, but they just run out of money before they get to that break-even point and then beyond. I mean, I know someone years ago who started a restaurant, actually a franchise, and by the time they'd got it all up and running, they just had payroll for a couple of weeks. And he was very well aware of this undercapitalization thing, and he just had to hope that they would make enough money when they opened up, people be interested enough in it, that they could at least pay their bills. He wasn't getting any money. He didn't get any money for a fair amount of time. He was essentially volunteering. It was kind of like a hobby. But eventually it took off. But you get undercapitalized sometimes. You really need to think about how long can I go without making any money, as long as it looks like our direction is going. We're building, right? We all would love to have that great idea where people are beating a path to our door, but building a better mousetrap doesn't seem to be as big a deal anymore. But we do have examples all the time where that happens to people. And you think, why couldn't it be me? Well, why not? It might be you. But there's not that many people out there that have something and then 2 days later they're making a bunch of money off of it. But our money is just being messed with. And we're losing money every day because of this inflation. You understand that. I mean, if everything costs 10% more and your money's just sitting in the bank, then its buying power is 10% less than it was, 6 months ago or whatever the case may be. And so what you had $100,000 in your bank account, you had $100,000, let's say. I know that's a lot of money, but it's an easier figure that you did 6 months ago. Now it's like you have maybe $92,000 in there, and you didn't buy anything. That's what's happening, and people don't know where to put their money. They can't find anything that's not going up in price without going up in value, because it's artificial with inflation. So find things out there. My first thing would be is to find things that are going to have some stable value. This is why gold is something that people look at, precious metals. Cryptocurrency, if you understand that. I don't understand it well enough to put any of my money in it. I know that some people do, and they're very happy, but make sure you understand completely anything before you put money in it. That's all I can say. A lot of people buy trends or what's cool at the time, and then not so happy later on. But I want to see all you guys prosper out there. You're hard workers, and you make things, you do things. That is the key to success. And if you're smart about your money and don't let it wander away from you, don't let the government take all of it, then you'll do better. We'll be back in a minute. I got a special guest on here for the next segment, and then we'll talk to you soon. Bye.